Hi, everybody. I'm Dan. I work for Thrive. I'm the Director of Evaluation and Analytics, and we're really excited to bring you this investment challenge, and we're really excited that you registered for it. It's going to be a really cool thing for us to try out. We hope this becomes kind of a regular thing that we can do maybe every semester or every year. But basically, this video is just going to be a quick walkthrough of how you get onto the Investopedia website, make an account, log in, join our game, and then we're actually going to go through very briefly how you can place a trade in the game. There are some more advanced features like some options trading and short selling that we're not going to get into in this video. We might send out some more resources on that, but if you're interested in that kind of stuff, I would encourage you to do some of your own research and definitely take advantage of it because these are things that you can do within the simulator. But without any further ado, let's jump right into it. I'm going to share my screen with everybody. All right, so right now you should be able to see the Investopedia Stock Simulator website. And so this is my account that you're looking at right now. And right now you can see there's nothing there because I'm looking at a game that hasn't actually started. But I'm just going to walk you through the website. And so it's initially going to prompt you to create an account, right? So when you go, so what I would encourage you to do is go to Investopedia, right? So this is the home page. And you can go to simulator and then I skipped ahead a little bit. But if you go to simulator and then you go to create an account right here, that's going to be where you're going to do that. And I would encourage you to use an email that you check often, just in case there's any news that you need to hear. But basically, you create an account there, and that's going to be your first step, right, in joining the game. And what's going to happen is tomorrow is when the game starts, right? So at around 9:15 tomorrow, before market open, we're going to be sending out another email that's going to include the password for joining our investment challenge game on the stock simulator. And so once you get that email, you can go in, either create an account or log into one that you've already created. And then basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to join a game. Okay. And so in this screen, what you're going to want to do is you're going to type in Thrive Investment Challenge. Okay. And then we're going to click the search button. And there it is. All right, so this is what you're going to be joining, and you're going to click join right here. It's going to prompt you for the password, and you're going to enter in the password that we send you in that email. Okay, so pretty straightforward. One thing I will note is that when you do go to the Investopedia website, depending on whether you've made an account or not made an account, there's a couple different pages it might bring you to. And so in order to clear up any confusion, what I would recommend that you do is once you have an account, no matter what page it brings you to, click on Investopedia. This will take you to the home page, right? So now we're all in the same place. Go to the simulator tab and go to join a game. All right, this is going to bring you to this page where you can search for our game and join it. And so hopefully that'll take you where you need to go. And so if I look over here on the left, you can see all these different tabs. These are all some of the different things that you can do within the simulator. And if you look at games, I'm going to look at my games. And so you can see right now the Thrive Investment Challenge, this game has not yet started, right? So this is going to start tomorrow, June 4th, market open. And so that's when it'll start. And so I'm going to invite you guys all to that. But basically, once you've made an account and joined the game, you will see this under my games list. You won't see the Thrive game test because that's just something that we have that we've been looking at just to figure out the platform a bit. But these are some different things you can do. We would say probably for right now, especially if it's after registration, don't invite any friends if they want to register. Just point them in our direction. They can email nuthrive@gmail.com and we can go from there. Rankings. So basically after the first full day, it will calculate rankings and you'll be able to see where everybody else in the competition kind of stacks up against you. So that'll be cool. And we'll also be sending out leaderboard updates probably about once a week to the email addresses that you gave us. So you can kind of figure out how you're doing. There's a leave game option. And then, so game rules, you can actually look at the rules that we've set up for this game. So they go pretty in depth. So for many of you who are just going to be doing some basic trading, a lot of this stuff won't apply to you. But if you're interested in understanding, like, how the simulator works and how it's simulating the real market conditions, feel free to go in here and just kind of see how we've set it up. And then if I go back to my games, All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys how to actually place a trade, right? So once the game starts, what you're going to want to do is place some trades. So if I go to the Thrive game test, so this one's actually active right now, so I can show you how it works. So this is where you're actually going to be doing some trading, right? And so you can also get here from this tab on the left, right? Trade a stock option. And so here's your stock portfolio, your option portfolio, your shorted stock portfolio. And so all the trades that you make are going to show up here, and you can go in and you can manage these. But we're just going to be focusing on the stock portfolio right now. For those of you who are interested in doing some option trading and shorting some stock, we might be putting out some more resources on that later. But let's just focus on basic stock portfolio, right? So we haven't bought any stocks yet, and so there's some ways you can learn about stocks. So they have some resources here. Full disclosure, some of the links have been a little wonky. So if you're having trouble getting to that information, I would encourage you just to do some Googling. And you can find some really great information on kind of just like the basic ideas of what a stock are. And we're also, I'm going to be providing you guys our own Thrive video on the basics of investing, which I think is a great place to start if you are a beginner. And so we're going to go right into it. And so we're going to actually trade a stock. So this is where you're actually going to take action. And so you can see for all these different options, the actual trade and short button is over here. So let's go right into it. We're going to trade a stock. Okay. And so it's pretty straightforward, right? So the first thing you're going to do is enter the symbol for whatever stock it is that you'd like to trade. So for an example, I'm just going to do Apple, right? Everybody knows Apple, right? So Apple Incorporated. And so it gives you some information here that's been updated based on the market. And so this is the last valuation that's been the most recent valuation of that stock, right? The price. And this is the recent change. And so what we're going to do is, so we've selected Apple, we're going to either buy or sell the stock, right? There's some other options here, and these have to do with shorting stock, but we're not going to go over that in this video. We're just going to focus on buying and selling. So let's say we want to buy. We're going to choose a quantity. These are some I've entered before. You can type in whatever you'd like, but let's say 10. And then this is the price that we're going to purchase it at. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about these different options that we have. So market price basically means that it's going to go through, this transaction is going to go through, and you're going to buy 10 stock at whatever the most recent price is, right? When you want to buy it. And so some of the other options, that's your kind of your most basic option. So there's also the limit and the stop option. And one thing I'd say is if you have more questions about these after, I kind of walk through it basically, is you can actually click here, and it talks about what all the different, transaction types mean. But if we go back, all right, so I'm going to go back to Apple. All right, I'm going to buy quantity of 10. And so some of these options, so I'll really briefly go through these. So a limit, basically what you're saying is if you're buying the stock, the limit is saying, let's say right now, this is the most recent evaluation of Apple stock. Let's say I don't really want to buy it unless it goes down to, let's say 300. I don't want to buy it at 322. Okay, it's too high for me, let's say. So I could place a limit and make that valuation 320, right? And so what that would do is that would basically tell the simulator that I don't want to buy this stock until it goes down to 320. So if it does go down to 320, then the simulator will go in. And so you can kind of think of the simulator as your broker in this sense, but basically it's going to complete that transaction if the price falls to whatever level you stipulate in this box. And so you can also do this with selling, right? And so it's going to work in the opposite way where I don't want to sell this stock. Let's say I already have 10 and I want to sell those 10, but I don't want to sell it unless this number, this 320, goes up to 350, right? So if this stock goes up in value, I want to sell it once it hits a certain point. And so you can do that as well. So obviously you'd go in here and you change that to 50, okay? Another option, a stop, is kind of the opposite of a limit in a sense. The idea is it's kind of like you want to stop any major losses. And so if you place a stop on a buy, so let's go back to buy, you're basically, say there's a stock that you're looking at, in this case, Apple, you think they're going to go up, right? You think the valuation is going to go up and that you can make some money on this stock, but you're a little unsure of whether or not it's going to go up, and you want to see some upward movement before you kind of hop on board. And so what you can do is you can place a stop. And so say we place a stop, we'll place a stop at 350, right? Basically what that's going to mean is that I'm telling my broker, right, the simulator in this case, that I don't want to buy this stock until it hits 350. I don't want to buy this stock until I've seen it already go up a bit. And kind of that's when I want to jump on the bandwagon. And so you can do that, or you can do the opposite and you can sell and have a stop. And this is going to be a situation where, let's say I don't want to sell this until I actually see it go down, right? So I could say I don't want to sell this until it hits like 300, right? So that's the idea, being that if it starts to go down, you might be getting a little worried. You want to make sure that you sell that stock before it goes down too far. And so that's a really basic, kind of crash course of limits and stops. I'm not going to go into trailing stops. That's, of course, an option here and something you can do some research on if you'd like. Most resources that you find online are going to be helpful in this, because the idea of this simulator is that it's trying to simulate an actual market environment, right? And then so here you can choose the duration. And so this is going to be important if you are placing limits and stops, because what it says is if I place a day order, it's saying I want to make this trade as long as it happens within the market today, right? So let's go back to one of our original examples. So say we want to do a limit, we want to buy. So remember, for the limit, it's basically saying I don't want to buy this stock until it goes down to a certain level. So let's say we set it at 300, right? Okay. So if Apple stock, basically what I've set up here, what all of this is saying is that if Apple stock during the market today hits 300 or lower, I want to buy 10 shares. Okay. And the day order is saying that I only want to do it if it hits 300 today. If today goes by and Apple never went down that much and it's been above 300 all day, this basically goes away, becomes irrelevant. That trade is not going to happen. Now, if you want it to last indefinitely, you can say good till cancel, right? So this is basically saying I'll wait for as long as it takes for Apple to go down to 300. I don't care if it's today. I don't care if it's next week. I'll wait. And then if you change your mind, of course, you can go in and you can cancel this, because it's, of course, good till canceled. But the key difference here is that the day order it's only going to go through if it happens today, whereas good till canceled is it'll wait until whatever condition that you've stipulated here occurs in the future. Okay. And then this little checkbox right here, this is just going to send you a confirmation email when the trade actually goes through. And so some of you might be wondering, well, let's say I just do a regular buy at market price for 10. Does day order or good till canceled really matter? Because in a simulator, there's not actual buyers and sellers. So basically, there's a set time in the simulator that it waits between when you place a buy or a sell order and when that transaction goes through, right? And that's just kind of a set time period. So this doesn't really make as much of a difference for a regular buy or sell. So that's a basic run through of how to go through and make a trade. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing. You can stop, rewind, go back and forth. And again, all that information that I just talked about is right in here. And so Investopedia has really great resources on that. And so some more basic stuff, you can look at your portfolio. This is what we just looked at a second ago, but once you make a trade, all of this information will appear here and you can go in and you can edit that. And if you go to, let's see, rankings. So this is what you'll see, and there'll be a lot of people in here and you can look at everyone else in the game. Note that the rankings won't be tabulated until after the first full market day. So end of day tomorrow. And if you go, let's see, I want to go to my home. All right, so this is kind of your home page. This account value right here, this $10,000. So this is what you're going to start with, right? This is the number that you're trying to maximize, right? This is kind of your net worth in the game. And in order to be ranked, this is what we're going to be looking at, okay? So you want to maximize this. And this will actually show you, the performance of your portfolio where it says no data once it's been tabulated after the first day. This shows you your game activity. And this is also just some general stock market activity. So the 5 biggest gains, 5 biggest losses. And I would encourage you, to kind of look at, for those of you who aren't familiar with some different websites to kind of do some investigating and see what stocks are performing well and what aren't. Wall Street Journal is a great option for that. Investopedia actually has its own kind of home pace for that, and so you can find that in here. But yeah, that's kind of a basic run through of the game. If you guys have any questions, make sure you can send an email to nuthrive@gmail.com, and I'll put that, of course. You can just reply or send a new email to the address that you get this email from. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're super excited to get this underway, super excited for it to get started. And I think that's pretty much it for me. So good luck to everybody. Keep an eye on your inbox because we'll be sending out the passwords to the game tomorrow morning, bright and early. And yeah, good luck.